on DTT Channel 4 this Saturday, 30 August at 6 p.m. Also available everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. FC Meets, football made for community by community. Rechencha Game, proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Nkosi sikelela iAfrika maluphakanyisu phondo lwayo iswa imithanda Soweto sibe moya munye noma sekunzima emhlabeni sihlukunyezwa ngamabulu wenkosi siphamandla okunqoba silwe nosatha ane wenkosi sikelela iAfrika maluphakanyisu phondo lwayo Roma
A renowned young South African pianist and composer, and really well known for his captivating performances and innovative compositions. Born and raised right here in Johannesburg, and he's one of those who immersed himself in the richness and diversity of culture from a very, very young age. And this particular track, A Flawless Prayer by Keenan Meyer, featuring Munei, is one that pays a tribute to the Fees Must Fall movement. It's been 10 years since that particular moment in South African history, and it comes from the album Reawakening. That is how we kick off the show today. I hope that you've had a great morning thus far and thoroughly enjoyed the discourse with Kathy earlier on today. It's time for us to kick off the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. We've got lots on the agenda. We're going to be in conversation around a new book called Creating Principled and Successful Learners in South African Schools by Dr. Mashudu Mbedzi, and he joins us in studio for that, author and doctoral supervisor. We also are going to be catching up with the folks at Nedbank, and we are looking at Africa's biggest marketing conference, which launched an industry-first partnership. That conversation coming up. Our friends at Digify are also in the first hour.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Amakhosi have a different strategy. They want to collect maximum points in the early days of the season. While reigning champions, Masandawana, want to sing their happy song, Double Yellow. This is the Betway Premiership. Catch Mzansi's Clash of Giants, Kaizer Chiefs versus Mamelodi Sundowns, this Wednesday, 27 August at 6:30 p.m. live on SABC3 and SABC Plus. Then on SABC radio stations at 7:30. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
So have you discovered the TV license WhatsApp as yet? Well, we see you binging reruns and living for the drama, loving the SABC Plus sports replays. Now paying your TV license fits the vibe. Simply say hi on WhatsApp to 077 60 69 060. Get your balance, make a payment, or set up a debit order all in one chat. There's no queues, no please hold, just convenience that feels like it should have been here all along, because every screen in South Africa is a stage and yours is lit. So why wait? Send hi on WhatsApp to 077 60 69 060 and get your TV license sorted out today. Hashtag your screen, your story.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga. Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
All right, let's get straight into it with Dr. Mashudu Mbedzi, who's an author and a doctoral supervisor for local and international students, and holds a doctorate of business leadership in mining and environmental management accounting. And he wrote a book titled Creating Principled and Successful Learners in South African Schools. How are you doing today?
Wow, I'm humbled to be in your presence, Bridget. We really appreciate you, and greetings to the listeners.
Well, thank you so much for the time. Much appreciated. So, I mean, let's get to unpacking the book, Creating Principled and Successful Learners in South African Schools. Why choose that to be the area of focus?
There's a generational gap and issues of moral decay. And when I start in the first chapter, you'll see I detail a lot of incidents that occurs in different schools and societies. And a lot of our kids are dying. They're getting stabbed, raped. Some principals involved whereby they're going cases whereby they assumed to have raped kids. And we have lost that kind of respect. And the issue of bullying are going a lot, whereby most kids kill themselves. There's cyberbullying. Some kids are traumatized. So the fact that you've got a child does not mean that you know or understand your child. You assume that you know them. We have got Wi-Fi and all those Android phones, only to find that our kids now listen to social media than their parents. So there's that kind of generational gap. The issue of risk. Some teachers are even afraid of the kids to call them to order because they don't know what will happen next. So there are a lot of issues of suicide, teenage pregnancy, the level of morality, lack of emotional intelligence, that ability to control their emotions and those of others. So these are concerns that keep on growing. To say, how then do we come in to build our own kids and have an engagement with them? And where have we gone wrong? Yes.
I mean, very important questions that around how do we begin to build an engagement with children, and what has gone wrong. And I think perhaps we'll double back to those ones in just a minute. And I think what you just said also speaks to maybe the inspiration behind the book, right? And I'd love to know also, you said it took 17 years.
Yes.
So, I mean, was it a lot of research based, a lot of the methodology behind the pages in the book?
I think the issue of understanding society as an academic, I take time to research. You don't have, when I write a book, for instance, I don't wake up and say, today I'm writing a book. There's that kind of voice that comes to you to say, these are issues that you need to write about. But that is not enough, because I need to go back and say, but what are the trends global? What's happening locally? What are the issues that we are facing? What is the media reporting on? So it takes time to understand issues that affect kids, issues that, to say, as a parent, you see, the main challenge that we're facing as parents is that parenting has evolved. So we need to be adaptive to current trends, to say when the child behaves like this, it's a sign possibly of saying they need help, but not to say you need to be too harsh on the child, because therefore you are chasing them away. So the fact that, like I said, that you've got a child does not mean that you understand or know them better. But we need to be able to have that kind of listening. But the concern that I have when I do counseling and shows is that you'll find that we do seminars for old people, but we don't do for our own kids. We don't. At what extent do you sit down and say, when I come from work, I sit down with my child and say, how was school today? The child at grade 5, they experience racism at school, because we send it these multinational schools only to find the child will say, but the other kids are not treated the same as me. Then how do you answer a child at grade 5? So these things start at a smaller scale, but do we take cognizance as parents to deal with them? Yes.
And the book, I mean, it's got a whole host of chapters that you focused on in the subject matter here. And it ranges from, I'm just trying to leaf through quickly and just get there. It's a whole bunch of things that you focused on, from the moral decay, and that's taking a look at the current situations in South Africa, to the introduction of being a principled learner. And when we talk about principled learners, in essence, what are you making reference to?
I'm talking about a learner who loves themselves first, who respects themselves, who are considerate. To say we have that sense of emotional intelligence, that ability to control their emotions, not to be reactive, who are very helpful. So those are kids, when they are in the school environment, they're helpful. very helpful to their own teachers and also to their own parents. So they're too considerate in nature, but not really. So they understand themselves and they know what they want to achieve and why they are at school. So they are not abusive. Remember, being abusive to other kids starts when you take someone's pen, when you talk to them badly, so you are reactive than tolerant. So in such kind of a case.
Okay, then I wonder with this book, because of the subjects that it touches on, the significance of emotional intelligence, 3 emotional intelligence models, and you break down in every chapter. There's like a real breakdown of the thematic that's covered in the chapter. Is the book aimed to be a resource for whom? Those in academia, those within the schooling sector, a resource for parents?
It's a general read, Bridget, in terms of a child from grade 6 going upwards to university level can read it. It makes things easier and creates dialogue between the parent and the child, and so with the teacher. So it's a read for learners, for parents, and also for some are raised by guardians. So it's a wide range, even for departmental issues or the libraries. So it bridges the gaps in terms of dealing with moral issues. When I start on the first page, like on the first chapter, like I detail incidents, what happened and where are we. So it gives a picture of saying this is where we are and then where are we going. Then what are the things? There are recommendations in each and every chapter. Yes.
I mean, I want to jump into our next question, but just looking at the time, I know that the headline news are fast upon us. So perhaps we'll come back on the other side of the news and we'll continue the conversation. And we'll look at, you've mentioned, and we all know that within South African schools, it's a microcosm of what happens in our society. So issues around bullying, around violence, teen pregnancy, all these are reflective of the societal moral decay and the deficit that we have in values. And I wonder what your research spoke to and how that sort of speaks to building this principled and successful learner. Let's take a quick pause for the headline news and then we'll be right back.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the Western Cape Department of Education says a learner who used a racial slur against another learner at a school in George in the Western Cape has been suspended. This is the second incident in the region in the past week. Former ANC national spokesperson Bule Mabe has reaffirmed his commitment to the party. Mabe has had to step aside from the ANC's National Executive Committee after being charged with corruption last year. He addressed the media outside the Palm Beach Specialized Commercial Crimes Court after his brief appearance. And the 27th International Interpol Conference has officially been opened by Acting Police Minister Professor Feroz Kachalia. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
We're in conversation with Dr. Mashuru Mbedzi, who's an author, as well as a scholar, really. And the book is Creating Principled and Successful Learners in South African Schools. And we're talking, weirdly enough, the headline news speaking to our conversation today. So we see these issues that sort of keep being regurgitated within the schooling environment. And they essentially hold a mirror up to what societies and communities are dealing with. And I wonder, what your research in preparation for this book illuminated around those issues and how perhaps educators in particular, who are the people who spend the most amount of time with children, can begin to use some of those findings within their classroom to address some of these issues.
You see, Bridget, in a split second, the teacher becomes a doctor, a psychologist, a parent, a counselor, in a split second, because you're dealing with different kinds of behaviors. So by this, it gives learners to reflect on themselves. But the problem that you find, say, for instance, if there are strikes in our societies, you'll find young children who are supposed to be at school burning tires. Then you ask yourself what went wrong. So the main issue is kids need to know themselves. Then they need to know to say, these teachers are our parents. To remove that fear that teachers have to say they can't say anything to this child because of their behavior. I mean, we say they must not bring harmful objects. I mean, a scissors that you use in class can be used to stab someone. So these are the issues that we need to deal with, to say, once this occurs, then we are quick to blame the police, we blame law enforcement, but these are our kids. We know, each and every parent understands and they know what they're dealing with. But once you realize that my child is a problem, is abusive, then you need to learn how to deal with that. Engage with the school to say, how can I assist and where can we fit in? Maybe they might recommend to say, maybe this child needs counseling. So these are issues that maybe that child was raped, so they take the anger to other kids. So we need to understand this kind of behavior to say, where do we fit in as society, where do we fit in as parents, and then what are we faced with? Yes.
At the beginning of our conversation, Dr. Mashudu, I mean, you sort of highlighted two questions. Yes. How do we begin to engage as adults and parents with our children, and what went wrong? And as we're talking, I'm just thinking, I think it was probably a week and a half ago, a video was circulating of an EFF, was it the MMC, MEC? They were doing an oversight of a school. I can't remember where. MMC. I can't remember if it was in Gauteng or in the Western Cape. And it looked like a high school from the video visuals.
Yes.
Where the teachers and the principal were literally being harassed to a point of fear.
Yes.
By teenage boys. And in the video, these teenage boys are seen, and you can see they are inebriated. They are completely out of it. They have no regard for the adults that are standing in front of them, and very blasé to what's going on. And that's what teachers have to deal with. I mean, does that speak to a sense that perhaps as community and parents as well, and we don't blame parents on the show, we don't judge, but is there a sense of maybe even community and parents have given up on the troublesome?
You see, first thing, like you're saying, Bridget, these teachers have not been trained in the first place to deal with kind of behaviors. It's new to them because each and every incident is specific to the incident. Now, when that occurs, it becomes a challenge. And that's why I'm saying there's a generational gap issues that we need to deal with. Churches are no longer involved in schools. There are no prayers in schools. And not to say each and everyone is religious. It doesn't matter the religion that we have, but these converge at a certain instance to say there is respect, there is tolerance, there is understanding of one another, there is love for each other. So those things are out of the window. Now, like I said in the book, the criminal element has germinated within the schooling environment system to say there are gangs within the system, they're selling drugs, they have got weapons. And there are some of the teachers in the East Rand whereby they assist in hiding this kind of tools. So you become concerned to say, where do we fit in? So this kind of book creates dialogue and makes parents and teachers and learners to reflect, to say, what is it that went wrong? We know our children, we know what we're doing, we know who they are. They come from our families, they come from our societies.
I want to quickly just jump to WhatsApp, Dr. Mashudu, as we prepare to wrap up the conversation, just to hear the thoughts on our listeners' minds.
Good afternoon, Bridget. Being a teacher or a police officer in South Africa is very challenging. You know, where police officers are afraid of criminals, teachers are afraid of learners, and parents also are afraid of their children. But I put the blame to those who decide on behalf of parents on how to raise their children or how to discipline their children. But how can somebody who was on the run, in exile during the days of struggles, decide on behalf of others on how to raise their children? Those people some of them don't even raise their own children. So they know nothing about raising children. But truth be told, we will never get it right for as long as the laws of this country remain the same. Thank you, Bridget.
Interesting perspective there. And as we wrap it up, in chapter 7, you talk about the significance of moral education.
I go back to it. When we talk morals, what are we talking about? Who are we? We have, you see, the issue of social media has made us to live lies. We post, we do this, we even post the food that we eat. And now, I mean, look at a child who doesn't have a cell phone at school. How are they not abused, or what happens to their self-esteem? This is why when you've got a school, there's a uniform to say it doesn't matter your background, you should look the same. But now we are not looking at the issue of cell phones, social media accounts, and all those things. So it's no longer uniform in nature.
I'm good. How are you?
Apologies for that. We just had a bleed through. Yes, it's no longer uniformed in nature.
Yeah, so these are the concerns that we need to be worried about as parents, and saying, how do we help the education system? How do we assist our teachers and educators? So we need to, like the listener said, I don't agree in some instances, it's an inclusive issue that we need to deal with. We can't, it's too late to point a finger. So we need to stand up and say, what role do I play as a parent? What role do I assist? And how do, we buy our children cell phones, but we don't buy them books that build themselves. So we don't invest in our own kids. At what extent to say, what time do you spend with your child? Our children are being raised by social media. We don't know what's happening with them. In a split second, your child being abused online, and their behavior changes, because there's someone now controlling them through cyberbullying. And you don't know about that, but you pay for Wi-Fi.
True.
Yes.
Very true. We've got to leave it there for today, but I think you've definitely planted a seed of discourse, creating principled and successful learners in South African schools. One or two of our listeners wanted to know, how do they get their hands on the book?
They can WhatsApp me on 072 793 3531. Is 072 793 35. The book, they will get the book.
All right. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for the conversation, Dr. Mashudu. Much appreciated. Let's take a quick break. It is 20 to 2 o'clock. We'll come back on the other side. We'll catch up with Nkensani Nobanda, who's the group executive at Nedbank.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
Bafana Bafana will host Nigeria in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Toyota Stadium on Tuesday, 9 September at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online from 70 Rand for adults and 40 Rand for children at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. Come in Bafana Bafana supporter gear, ready to sing for a win. Gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Bloemfontein, catch the game on SABC2. For more information, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media channels.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All. We honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
She's got a right to be.
Living your best life on the Full Circle.
All right, let's catch up with Kensani Nobanda, who's the Group Executive Marketing and Corporate Affairs Nedbank Group. And we want to understand about this new partnership. The SABC CEO, Usis Nomsa, will be presenting at the Nedbank IMC 2025 with the topic, Why a CEO Should Drive Brand Vision from the Top, as the broadcast partner to the Nedbank IMC, the Integrated Marketing Collective, incorporating Africa's biggest marketing conference. How are you doing today, Kensani?
I'm good, Bridget. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for the time. Let's talk firstly, get an understanding around the Integrated Marketing Collective and what the conference entails. It's the biggest one on the continent, correct?
Yeah, so we've been partnerships with IMC, I think it's probably the last 6-7 years. And what I love about it is, if I think about how it's evolved, we bring top speakers from the African continent, internationally, from South Africa. And it's literally between 15 to 20-minute conversations around, I guess, the most topical conversations from a marketing perspective. And the whole, if you think of the narrative of the conference, it's really around marketing gets naked, which is really challenging. Does marketing really deliver from a business perspective? So yeah, and we've been doing it for the last 6 years, which is really exciting.
And just give us also a clue in as far as the importance of marketing conversations and marketing gatherings such as this.
So, I just really think in the context of, if you think about the brands, the companies and all of that are driving growth, right? A lot of them, marketing is at the core part of that growth. And I think to have a gathering where we can have the conversations that are impacting marketing from a relevant perspective at the moment, which would be AI, creativity, data, technology, a lot of those things, I think it's really important. But also bringing in stakeholders outside of marketing, whether it's advertisers, whether it's people who are running businesses. So, for example, our CEO, Jason, will be having a conversation. So, Nedbank CEO, around what he expects from marketing. And I think it's always important to get a sense from stakeholders that are not in marketing around the expectations of the function.
Absolutely. It's always an interesting observation, right, that in times of crises, for most organizations, marketing is the first thing that gets affected. And yet we also know how really, almost in any industry, it's highly dependent on the marketing department for it to have success and traction.
Absolutely. And in fact, I've been very lucky at Nedbank, by the way. So if I think of COVID, where a lot of banks, a lot of organizations actually in general cut their marketing spend, what we were clear about was we needed to have conversations still, even in an environment like that. Those conversations might not have been selling conversations, but they were conversations around, in a period like that, how do you manage your money better and stuff. So, and what we learned from the 2008 global crisis was that the brands that continued to market, to continue to communicate, came out of the crisis a lot stronger. So actually, the knee-jerk reaction of let's cut the marketing budget is not the right reaction. It's been proven scientifically that actually you should continue to communicate.
I hope the right ears are listening. I hope the right ears are listening.
All the CFOs.
I hope so, indeed. And of course, for those who are going to be convening, what is the hopeful takeaway for them as participants?
So I think firstly, it's always, to me, just as someone who's been in marketing for 25 years, I still walk away really inspired by what I can continue to deliver, not just for Nedbank, but just for the marketing community and stuff. We're going to hear some young voices. So I'm chairing a panel with marketing students around the expectations of the industry and what challenges that they're seeing, which I think is really exciting because it's good to hear the young voices as well. One of the favorite speakers I'm looking forward to is a guy I worked with when I was at South African Breweries, Charles Basil. He's the current CMO of BBC globally. And just, he's run brands like Absolute Vodka globally. And to have a chance for him to just talk about, some of the challenges that he sees and some of the ways and opportunities. So I think, it's one of those times where I think, and it's short, sweet conversations, it's not long presentations. And then afterwards, you get a chance to really be able to network with other marketers or advertising people, or people who just impact the industry. So if you don't have a ticket, we're probably sold out. I don't know. Dale knows better than me.
Interesting, Kansani, you mentioned Charles there, and as you sort of just gave a brief highlight of his career journey, that's the other interesting dynamic of marketing, right? For any young marketing student that might be listening to us today, is that marketing allows you to really take your career in so many different directions. You can go from marketing absolute to being the head of marketing at BBC, all in one lifetime.
All in one lifetime. You look at my career. I started off on Rama Margarine and now I'm at a bank. The opportunities are pretty incredible, actually. And we really, like I always say, as marketers, to be stewards of brands that are well loved by the public. So it's an honor to actually be able to run these brands.
Absolutely. For those who might want to chance it and see if they can't get a last minute ticket, where do they go to secure their booking?
So they can go check out the IMC conference.coza or any of our social media pages, IMC Conference, Nedbank IMC Conference. I do suspect it's sold out, but you never know.
You just say, listen, God could be smiling on you from a different perspective.
Exactly.
We appreciate the time with you this afternoon. That was Kansani Nobanda, who's the Group Executive for Group Marketing and Corporate Affairs at Nedbank Group. And of course, they're presenting the Integrated Marketing Collective, incorporating Africa's biggest marketing conference. And we have partnered with them as SABC. And our very own CEO, Sis Nomsa, is going to be one of those panelists, speakers on the day. So it should be an interesting conversation indeed. It is 10 to 2 o'clock. We're going to take a quick pause. We'll come back on the other side.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
From the brilliant buzz of Joburg to the beautiful beaches of the Eastern Cape, Fly Safair has you covered. That's right, from 1st November, we'll be flying from Lanseria Airport to both East London and PE, just in time for the holiday rush. Tickets are on sale now from only 770 Rand. So whether it's for work or play, plan your Eastern Cape escape from Lanseria or vice versa. Book now at flysafair.co.za. Fly Safair, for the love of fly. T's and C's apply.
This week on Off-Pitch Goals, Sonono and Sanela Khoza join us and take us through the storied success of the Zodwa Khoza Foundation. We talk legacy, community building, and youth career pathways. Tune in to SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 this Saturday, 30 August at 6:30 p.m. Also available everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Off-Pitch Goals, where we showcase how the stars score in business. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
All right, so this is a message from the Commission for Gender Equality. As we commemorate Women's Month, The CGE highlights its 2024 report, Women in the South African Economy. The findings show that despite economic programs and initiatives, women remain excluded or underrepresented in labor markets, land ownership and finance, as well as asset acquisition and paid care work and the rural economic decisions. The CGE continues to monitor, promote and research gender equality with the goal of influencing policy and reforms that advance women's economic participation, empowerment and transformation.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, so as part of Money Smart Week 2025, under the national theme Smart Money Financial Foundations for a Resilient Future, Digify Africa, in partnership with leading index tracking investment products and exchange trade funds provider Cetrix, hosted a high-impact digital financial literacy roundtable earlier this month. And we are joined by Ufigile Mbogota, who is the CEO of Cetrix, to unpack more. How are you doing this afternoon, Figile?
Thank you, Bridget, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. All right, so for our listeners, the ones that may not know, who knows, let's get an understanding in the context of Money Smart Week and the importance of the national campaign.
Sure, thanks for that. Well, Money Smart Week is really a nationwide campaign, and it's dedicated to raising awareness about financial literacy. It's really about encouraging South Africans to have real conversations about money in terms of how we earn it, how we save it, how we protect it, right? And also how, most importantly, how we can grow it. The importance of it really comes from the fact that financial literacy is really not just a luxury anymore. It is a necessity. And I think with so many people facing tough economic conditions, knowing how to make smarter money choices can be the difference between just surviving and also just really building a secure future for yourself.
You guys recently hosted the Digital Financial Empowerment Roundtable. Talk to us about the core of those conversations.
So really, I think the core of the conversations was to bring together voices from across the financial sector. So that includes ourselves as Cetrix, Easy Equities, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority for the FSCA, and Digify Africa. And our aim there was to unpack how digital tools are transforming access to financial education and investment. Because let's face it, digital access is happening and we can't ignore it. The purpose was simple, to move the conversation from awareness to action. We wanted to explore how platforms like WhatsApp learning bots and low-cost investing apps are breaking down barriers and really giving more South Africans the chance to take charge of their financial future.
So, I mean, I said at the beginning that the big theme for the year was Smart Money Financial Foundations for a Resilient Future. And if we're talking finance, what does financial resilience look like for the everyday South African?
That's a good question, Bridget, because for most people, financial resilience is not just about having millions in the bank. It's really about having that knowledge and tools to weather life's ups and downs. And it could mean like for the three of the following things. The first one is really building a savings buffer. The second one is understanding how to avoid debt traps. And most importantly, the third one is starting small investments that can grow over time, because growth of your assets and your money is very important. At its heart, resilience is about financial confidence, knowing that no matter your income level, you have the ability to make informed decisions that can protect and grow your future.
How are we using technology, Figile? You mentioned things like WhatsApp bots, for instance, and fractional investing apps. How are we using this technology to change the way that people learn about money, and also I think primarily to also try and get our people. When I say our people, I'm particularly talking about black and brown communities that for generations have been excluded from financial literacy conversations. How do we get them moving in the right direction and understanding investment and also participating in that ecosystem of investing?
Bridget, these are game changers. So a WhatsApp bot, for example, allows someone to learn about budgeting and investing in a language, most importantly, and format that they're comfortable with, right on their phone. We know that a lot of people have access to their phone, and so it becomes easier to learn through WhatsApp and through a format that you're comfortable with. Cetrix Now platform really allows for fractional investing. And what is fractional investing? Fractional investing is just basically means owning an ETF or a basket of share with just R1. So that means you no longer need thousands and thousands of rands to start. You can begin with as little as R1 or R5. So instead of buying that airtime, you can buy an exchange-traded fund. And I think these tools are really making money education and investing more inclusive, most importantly, especially from people like us who are from a previously disadvantaged background. It makes it more affordable because suddenly you can invest for as little as R1. And you can choose between buying airtime and investing. And thirdly, it makes it more practical, for everyday South Africans, because you can just download your Cetrix Now app and simply register and invest.
I think, I was going to ask you to say, if you could give our listeners, leave them with one word of advice, what would that be?
I think the important thing here is simplicity and relevance, because financial investment literacy can sound really intimidating. And I think for the average Joe, it might mean breaking down concepts into everyday language, such as a budget, which is really just your money plan, and showing how small changes like making a budget, putting money aside, can add up to a better financial future. And I think for the CEO, it's really about connecting financial literacy to a long-term strategy and resilience. At the end of the day, Bridget, it's really about everyone dealing with money decisions. But the way we frame it, I think, in terms of this conversation, is really to meet people where they are.
Absolutely. Fikile Mbogota, thank you so much for the time. Fikile is the CEO of Cetrix. It's 2 o'clock, and it's just a matter of a few seconds. Ondela is coming through with the top of the hour news, and then we'll come back on the other side of this, and we'll shift focus a little bit and have a light lifestyle conversation. And we're looking at the rise in solo travel for women.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, Western Cape learner suspended for using a racial slur, and Marbury affirms his commitment to the ANC. For SAFM News, I am Ondela, and a very good day. The Western Cape Department of Education says a learner who used a racial slur against another learner at a school in George has been suspended. This is the second incident in the region in the past week. Last week, a Knysna high school learner was also disciplined after being caught on camera using a racial slur. The York High incident in George prompted a meeting between education officials, the school principal, and members of the EFF. Department of Education spokesperson Bruna Hammond says they will view this incident in a very serious light.
The school has acknowledged the hurt that the video has caused. They have counselling support available for learners and have addressed the issue in assembly. They are currently planning various restorative measures and programs to address the issue of racism and inclusivity. The actions of the learner, however, do not reflect the values and ethos of the school. The school immediately took action. The learner has been suspended and will face a disciplinary hearing.
Former ANC national spokesperson Bule Mabe has reaffirmed his commitment to the party. Mabe has had to step aside from the ANC's National Executive Committee after being charged with corruption last year. He addressed the media outside the Palm Ridge Specialized Commercial Crimes Court after his brief appearance. Mabe, his wife and 5 other co-accused face charges of fraud, corruption and contravention of the Public Finance Management Act. This is in connection with the 27 million rand tender fraud case linked to his company, EnviroMobi. The case has been postponed to the 18th of February next year. Mabe says he will never leave the ANC.
I did not leave the ANC because I'm suddenly facing a charge. The ANC did not put a charge against me here. I am a bona fide member of the African National Congress. I've renewed my membership. I will remain a member of this organization. But I have submitted myself in terms of association to the African National Congress. I am not about to leave the ANC. I will remain in the ANC. It will be a conviction in this court that takes away my membership. For as long as I live, I belong to that organization. I don't belong to leaders of the ANC. I belong to the ANC. If tomorrow we're voting, I will vote for the African National Congress.
The 27th International Interpol Conference has officially been opened by Acting Police Minister Professor Feroz Kashalia. The 3-day conference is underway at Century City in Cape Town. It is hosting police leadership from around the world to discuss strategies that will help combat transnational organized crime, terrorism and other emerging threats globally. Kashalia says Interpol's 5-year plan to help fight organized crime is of critical importance.
The importance of this conference lies not only in its agenda, but also in its substantive agenda, policy agenda, but its practical orientation. We are gathered here to generate solutions that are both strategic as well as pragmatic, solutions that can be implemented effectively within our countries and within the frameworks of our regional and continental organizations. Our deliberations will help to shape a more coordinated African response to transnational organized crime, one that strengthens the security of our borders while protecting the rights and well-being of our people.
Women from different communities and sectors in Cape Town have joined together and marched to Parliament in a bid to create awareness of gang violence on the Cape Flats. One of the organizers of the march, Maureen Sambo, says the march is not only to address gangsterism but also crime and gender-based violence. She says children and the elderly suffer the most in society due to gang-related violence.
We are marching to Parliament today to say not only is enough, but that the voices of women in our communities are powerful.
U.S. President Donald Trump's doubling of tariffs on imports from India to as much as 50% has taken effect as scheduled today. A punitive 25% tariff imposed due to India's purchases of Russian oil adds to Trump's prior 25% tariff on many imports from the South Asian nation. It takes total duties to as high as 50% for goods such as garments, gems and jewelry, footwear, sporting goods, furniture and chemicals. The BBC's Davina Gupta reports.
Oil prices are a political sensitive matter in India. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi relies on deep discounted Russian oil to keep these oil prices and inflation in check. India imports nearly almost all of its oil needs and 40% of it comes from Russia. So India cannot afford at this time to move away from Russia. Time and again, his government has said that this is a selective punishment when these secondary tariffs are being imposed in India, because only India is being singled out, while China, which is also importing energy and crude from Russia, is not having these tariffs.
Recapping the top story, the Western Cape Department of Education says a learner who used a racial slur against another learner at a school in George in the Western Cape has been suspended. This is the second incident in the region in the past week. I'm Ondela Mbana for SFM News headlines at 2:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Leading the conversation.
I'm Andile Ncube umzilankati siqongo no George Ntomba eyazizala ke suka le emzimkhulu egugweni ila ke inkaba yasala khona. Your son got a star on his forehead, brightens your every mood when you get as old as I am. What do I like about Mzansi or love? You know, it's home. Beyond football, I enjoy cricket. You know, or Andile ngesixhosa go Ace Mabheka. You know, my favorite nickname of all time, like Captain Yama 2000. In everything we do, just like the African continent is the beginnings of life, right? Just like women are the beginnings of life. The SABC and SABC Sport is exactly that.
Catch Andile, Captain Yama 2000 Ncube on match days, live on Latuma. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
From the brilliant buzz of Joburg to the beautiful beaches of the Eastern Cape, Fly Safe has you covered. That's right, from 1st November, we'll be flying from Lanseria Airport to both East London and PE, just in time for the holiday rush. Tickets are on sale now from only 770 Rand. So whether it's for work or play, plan your Eastern Cape escape from Lanseria or vice versa. Book now at flysafe.co.za. Fly Safe, for the love of fly. T's and C's apply.
This week on Off-Pitch Goals, Sonono and Sanela Khoza join us and take us through the storied success of the Zotwa Khoza Foundation. We talk legacy, community building, and youth career pathways. Tune in to SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 this Saturday, 30 August at 6:30 p.m. Also available everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Off-Pitch Goals, where we showcase how the stars score in business. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Fana omuhle igama lakhe dando lwethu benimthanda endithanda sasingohlulwa nazi
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
All right, we kicked off the hour with Burita. Tandolwetu is the name of the song, and she'll be live at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz's Mbira stage. It's happening from the 26th until the 28th of September. We're going to be out at the Sandton Convention Center. Remember, you've got until the end of this month. I think the month ends on Sunday. You've got until the end of this month to enter our competition. All you have to do is SMS SAFM followed by your name to 41391. That's SAFM followed by your name to 41391. We've got 15 sets of tickets to give away. So you could be coming to the show. Bring a +1. We're not going to judge who your +1 is. Bring a +1. Let's have a great time. Let's enjoy the joy of jazz. But you literally have until the end of this Sunday to enter that competition in celebration of our 89th birthday. And then come September, we'll start making those calls. And that's when you got to hang on to your phone 24/7, because you just never know when we're going to give you a call. All right. So our next conversation, we're looking at the rise in solo travel for women. And in recent years, one of the most notable changes in global travel trends has been the surge in solo travel by women. At some point, it was considered unconventional, maybe even a little bit risky, but now it's taken on a different kind of lease to life. Author of Vagabond and friend to the station, Lerato Mukwatle, is joining us on the line. How are you doing this afternoon, Lerato?
I'm good, thanks, and you, beloved Bridget?
I'm fabulous, my lady. Cannot complain. And actually, I find that sentiment is the truth the true reflection, right? Because if we rewind a couple of years ago, less than 10 years ago, if you heard a woman saying, I'm solo traveling, it would kind of raise eyebrows or a sense of discomfort, because it wasn't a common thing. But now it's becoming more and more common for women to embark on solo trips.
And to that I say hallelujah. It's about time. It's about time. And I think one of the reasons it's so important for women to travel solo is that it really, really is an expression of freedom. You know, you just get to be free. Every decision you make is yours. You own it. Whatever experience you want to have, it's yours. And how I often talk about it is that very often women are in our day-to-day lives, right? We don't always get to center ourselves in the decisions that we make, that we even co-sign. What are we eating today? Where are we going? We often have to embrace other people's perspectives and needs. But when you're traveling solo, you literally choose where you are going, what will happen, and what you will experience. And you only move as and when you feel like doing. It is the most beautiful expression of freedom that I have experienced.
I mean, and I get that sort of that sense of freedom and empowerment. And I love also what you've just highlighted, that it's one of those things that is solely centered around you, because we don't think about it from that perspective. But the unfortunate thing, which I guess comes part and parcel of solo travel, particularly if you are a woman in the world that we live in, not to fearmonger or anything, but they also it's coupled with the awareness of the risk that might be for you as a woman, if you're a black woman, also then understanding what that might entail, because that presents a different dynamic to a Caucasian woman traveling the world alone.
Absolutely. And, it's so important that you mentioned this. So, for example, even though Egypt is a very safe destination and I've been there multiple times, I'm also acutely aware that in Cairo, when they see black women, they'll say things like, hot dark chocolate and other things that I quite find unsavory because it exoticizes us.
Yeah.
And I remember once in Zanzibar, many years ago, someone was trying to hit on me, and I said, look, I'm not interested. And he says, oh, well, you're from South Africa. South African women are cheap, So what's the issue? What's your price? So you'll encounter some perceptions, and sometimes you'll even encounter moments that do truly, absolutely feel scary, Someone once knocked on my door, and it was very violent. I think they were lost, but I dealt with it calmly. But you will experience some discomfort. What is really, really important is to know research a place that you're going to and do not underestimate your fears. So, for example, there's a country that I know that I'm unlikely to go to, India, because of the high levels of GBV, right?
Yes.
So every time I do my research, it is someone was harassed while they were with a tour guide,
Yes.
So that scares me. It's not the violence itself that scares me. It is that even with a tour guide, you are not safe, right? Because a tour guide is supposed to be your layer of safety and protection and security. And then I always make sure that I have a local SIM card with data. It doesn't matter if I'm going to be there for 3 days. I am not relying on Wi-Fi access.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
I want us to just pause there for a second, Lerato. We'll come back on the other side. Let's just take this commercial break and then we'll come back and continue our conversation.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Amakosi have a different strategy. They want to collect maximum points in the early days of the season. While reigning champions Masandawana want to sing their happy song, Double Yellow. This is the Betway Premiership. Catch Mzansi's Clash of Giants, Kaizer Chiefs versus Mamelodi Sundowns, this Wednesday, 27 August at 6:30 p.m. live on SABC3 and SABC Plus. Then on SABC radio stations at 7:30. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
SAFM celebrates its 89th birthday this month by giving listeners an exclusive opportunity to attend the prestigious Joy of Jazz taking place at the Sandton Convention Centre from the 26th to the 28th of September 2025. To stand a chance to win these sought-after tickets, simply SMS SAFM 89 followed by your name to 41391 and stay tuned to SAFM as we could be calling you. SAFM is the official media partner for the Dipala stage at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Entries open from the 7th of August and close on the 31st of August 2025. Winners will be randomly selected and called from the 1st of September 2025. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. T's and C's apply. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
In conversation with Lerato, author of Vagabond, Wandering Through Africa on Faith, and we're having a conversation around the rise in solo travel for women. And, this has become such a thing, Lerato, that I'm seeing more and more women and influencers and travel influencers and bloggers and celebrities talk about their solo travel experiences. And it just seems like it's now part and parcel of a traveler. If you are a person who likes to travel, happens to identify as female, it's probably on your bucket list that you want to solo travel at some point.
And I think that points to how wonderfully the narrative is shifting around travel on its own. I think for a lot of people, traveling seems intimidating, only because it's an unknown destination, it's an unknown experience. But the more people travel and the more we share our stories, the more we have these conversations, the more other people feel empowered and that they're able to do this. We often feel braver when we see ourselves in the experiences that we want to go for, right?
Yeah.
And another thing that's very, very important is that because women also, we keep improving, we have a little bit more money.
Yeah.
We are in better positions in life. We're also able to then just say, good, I will do a travel experience and it will be a solo experience, because I think COVID taught us one thing. If you wait for someone to join that trip, you will not go anywhere. I think the lockdown, that forced solitude of lockdown, made us miss freedom so much that I know I and a few other friends of mine were like, right, we're going to go on a revenge travel excursion. We're just going to go anywhere you want to go, don't over question,
I love that. You went on a revenge travel experiences. What advice would you give? Because I mean, you do it. You've written about it. You have a sub career around it. This is natural to you. But for someone like me, for instance, I've never done a solo trip, not even a solo short left. Just to like the Northwest province or something like that. What advice would you give to just nudge us in that direction?
Go right away. Remember that we are not here forever. So prioritize it. That's the first step. Oftentimes we go somewhere because we have made it a priority. But beyond that, because I know travel is a priority for you, always look for destinations that are very easy to navigate. For example, I think South Africa is one of the most beautiful travel experiences. It's simply a pleasure to travel because we have so many options when it comes to transport, when it comes to hotels. We have amazing food. We have dynamic cultures. So it's just, there's a lot to do always. And the good thing about a destination where there's a lot to do always is that things become easy. Whatever you want, you just book. Someone picks you up, they drop you off, and there you get a full day of experiences without actually sitting and thinking, oh gosh, I'm alone. Am I supposed to be lonely now? And then secondly, choose destinations that are very affordable. So for example, I still like Zanzibar. I keep it in my back pocket as I need a getaway, but I can't afford to really, really spend a lot of money. I go to Zanzibar, again, because of proximity to South Africa, because there are now direct flights, and also because it has well-developed tourism infrastructure. I also say choose places like Sao Tome and Principe, Seychelles, Mauritius, that are also by nature known to be safe countries, because a place is a country before it's a destination. It is a home before it's a holiday. It's my holiday, right?
Yeah.
It's home for the people who live there, and people do make home safe or not. So places like Tunisia, Namibia, Zanzibar, Senegal, Seychelles, Sao Tome and Principe, those are really good. Then for people who want a big adventure, a very, very big adventure, I always say Morocco and Egypt, because the tourism, the traveling packages there, you can decide to do 13 days across the country, and you just have an itinerary, and usually tour companies also organize that. So you can either do it independently. I do not recommend that if you're a beginner and if you are a little bit shy about organizing things. Then you can also just work through a tour company. In everything that you do, whether it's looking for an experience, whether it's looking for a hotel, picking a country, always use Google. I actually spend so much time of my research not dreaming up of fun, fabulous adventures and where I'm going to eat, but looking at reviews. Is this place safe? Is there something that I have missed on social media that I can find on Google reviews, that I can find on other travel platforms?
Interesting. And in our final moments, Lerato, interesting that you mentioned how South Africa is an easy place to travel. Tracy Ellis Ross, the actress, Diana's daughter, recently started a blog around her solo travels, because like you, she's a big solo traveler. And she was saying perhaps even start off with places where you've been before with other people, places that are familiar to you. Go there on your own.
Yes, absolutely. And I think what's actually quite special about going to a familiar place, especially if you're going there by yourself, you get to experience it differently. It gets to be, it really becomes a youth-centered experience. Actually, I must just be honest, let's be self-centered. It's okay. It's not a bad word. It centers you in that experience, and you also get to slow down, and you also get to experience things that you previously missed. For example, I was in Stone Town recently with my family, and on the last day, I said to everyone, "Oh my God, guys, I'm just gonna ditch you for a few hours because I actually want to go to Stone Town." And the way that I experience Stone Town when I'm with people and when I'm alone is completely different. And I wanted to have that experience that I always have of Stone Town, where I sit down and people watch and I make conversations and I follow sounds and smells.
Okay. Well, listen, you've given us some great advice. I think I will commit before the year is over. I'll start with a place I know. I'll keep it local. And a place I've been to before that is familiar. Lerato, always appreciate the time with you and your advice when it comes to traveling and, of course, sharing some of your own personal experiences. That was author of Vagabond, Wandering Through Africa on Faith, Lerato Mugwashe, joining us today. Solo travel. Listen, we've got to put it on that bucket list for 2026. Got to do something. Do it small. I think before the year is over, I'll do a little short lift. I'll come back and report on it. You know me. Let's take the headline news and then we'll come back with Kids Corner on the other side of that.
On the news headlines at 2:30 on SAFM, I am on Dilambana and a very good day. National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemula says transnational organized crime remains a major threat across the continent. Masemula was speaking at the opening of the 27th International Interpol Conference in Cape Town. ANC Youth League President Colleen Malachi has criticized the National Convention, which took place almost 2 weeks ago, as a tea party of friends. Malachi made the comments at a media briefing at the party's headquarters in Johannesburg today. And the Western Cape Department of Education says a learner who used a racial slur against another learner at a school in George has been suspended. This is the second incident in the region in the past week. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
This week on FC Meets, Tisetso and Bandile sit down with Mamelodi Sundowns ladies dribbling wizard Lehlohonolo Mashego. Find out about her rise to the top of women's football on the African continent and what motivates her to aim even higher. Tune in to SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 this Saturday, 30 August at 6 p.m. Also available everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. FC Meets, football made for community by community. Rechencha Game. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the art and heart of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, Umu Sankare, Ababemu, Jasmia Horn, Silent Law and the Noisemakers, Najbonk Trio, Michelle Ndingio-Jello, Willem Sini, Gabby Mutuba, and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
Lina laka ke tlhompho ke kana, I'm from Mamelodi Sundowns captain. I'm a sports analyst la go SABC Sport. When I'm home, I try by all means to practice cooking. My favorite home cooked meal, I'll go for pap and masonja because I can prepare that with easy. What do I normally get up to when I get a moment to myself? I would easily, play my guitar. I try to practice a lot of Tracy Chapman. My favorite foreign language is French. Bonjour, comment ça va? So if I didn't play full football, I think I was gonna be a baseball player. What do I like about SABC Sport is the fact that we given an opportunity to educate.
Catch the exciting Diski analysis by Sompo Long Range Kakana on match days live on Latuma. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga. Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. This program is brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
SABC Education, in partnership with the Department of Health and Ilifa Labantwana, bring you episode 39 of the Side-by-Side drama Season 4, focused on developmental milestones the first year and what to expect.
Say and say. Side by side.
Singama Africa Kenya you Tina Singama Africa Kenya you Tina Singama Africa Kenya Tina.
Pamela, you look tired and worn out. It's important that you also get some rest, Sisi.
Oh, Mom Cindy, I had to change my shifts and do some double shifts so I can stay with Imange and Mandla during the week.
Mama, why don't we ask Lupumzo to help again?
Tanam, we can't keep asking her. She has her own child to look after.
You know what, Pam? I'll ask if there's someone in the community who can stay with Imange while you are at work.
Thank you, Mom Cindy. I just want to be there for Imange. But I am stretched thin.
Oh, I can imagine, Sisi. But let's talk about something positive for a moment. I want us to talk about what we can expect from Mandla for the first year of his life. Right? Understanding these milestones will help both you and Imange on how to support him.
Milestones, Mam Cindy?
Yes, Mdanam. It starts from the head and moves down. Think of it like a flower blooming. At 6 months, Mandla will sit straight. And by 12 months, he might be taking his first steps.
Oh.
You know, Imange, you are such a quick learner. I remember you chasing butterflies as soon as you could walk. Oh, man.
Oh, those are part of the motor skills, Pamela. Mandla must learn them.
What's a motor skill, Mam Cindy?
Imange, it's any action involving muscle movement. Picking up objects is a fine motor skills, while crawling is also a gross motor skill.
I used to place your toys just out of reach, Imange. You'd stretch so far to grab them.
Exactly like that. That's how you encourage development without overwhelming them.
I want to do that for Mandla. Help him grow as strong as he can be.
And you will, Imange. You and Pamela have so much love to give. That's the best start for Mandla.
Hey, you. I missed your face on the screen. Can't wait to see you face to face.
I missed you more. I got some news.
What is it?
Guess.
I don't know.
Just
What?
guess. The new branch is opening in a few weeks back home.
Oh my gosh! Oh wow!
Yes.
So,
yes.
have you applied?
Oh yes. I've applied. Put in my application as a junior accountant.
Oh, Anele. so excited. Think about it. You, me, Amanda, we could be a proper family again. We could go on those trips we talked about, or just be at home. Stay home, watch movies, do things other families do.
Kanya, babe. I love that image, but we've got to stay grounded, eh? I haven't gotten the transfer yet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, right. No counting chickens before they hatch. Got it. But it's hard not to be excited, Anele.
Well, I know. I trust me, I am too, but let's just wait for the confirmation. Promise me you'll keep the lead on until then?
I promise to try, but no promises on the dreams I'll be having tonight.
Fair enough. I'll let you know as soon as I hear anything.
And I'll be here, trying not to be too excited. Love you.
I love you more. Well, we'll talk soon, okay?
All right, bye.
Oh, hi Lupumzo, how are you?
Hi everyone. I have good news. Nandipa, a fellow student and a future social worker, has volunteered to help out here. In fact, 2 other students have volunteered, and one is studying childcare.
Oh, bless you, my dear. Thank you so much. We're so grateful.
Oh, that's wonderful, Lupumzo.
Heaven sent all of you.
Oh no.
Lupumzo, what's wrong? What's going on?
Someone just spotted a man who looks like Siabonga, but at the local tavern.
But he wouldn't dare to come back, would he?
We need to be careful. I'll call the police and see if they can check it out.
Okay.
Don't worry, Dana.
We'll make sure you're both safe, no matter what.
Okay.
Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Zonke
Join us tomorrow as we sit down with an expert at 2:30 to further discuss developmental milestones the first year and what to expect, right here on SAFM.
Say and say. Side by side.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
So, in our last conversation, we're going to look at the critical role of allyship in the economic space, and we're chatting to HR executive at RCS, Sandy Richardson, joins us. How are you doing this afternoon, Sandy?
I'm great, thanks, Bridget. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for the time. Okay, so let's talk about it. We know that the journey towards gender equality and women's empowerment, particularly in business, is often marked by significant process, but there's still some ongoing challenges that remain and continue to impede on that transformation effort.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just really thanks for having me, and thank you for continuously raising awareness around this.
Only but a pleasure. So when we look at those challenges that remain, what factors and what does that speak to?
You know, some of the biggest challenges that we find are things that people are not necessarily consciously aware of. So, we talk about the concept of hidden biases, and then there are some legacy practices in business that continue to impede women empowerment. So, for example, if I just had to give you some practical scenarios, there's often vague promotion criteria. And really, it causes a lack of transparency around what makes someone qualify for advancement or for a specific job opportunity. And this often leads to bias in decisions. That means women often are overlooked because, certain assessments like leadership potential, or, that one description fits all, cultural fit, which often favor dominant male traits and characteristics. So, these are really things that people are not conscious of, but we have to bubble it up and then really address them. So, really as a company, what you need to do is really look at the practices and really have a safe space where a mirror can be held up to you to challenge your modus operandi.
Absolutely. And when you talk about those hidden biases, right, and things and challenges around the vague promotion criteria, how do companies begin and how do leaders begin to sort of redress that? What kind of strategies need to be put in place that deal with exactly that, holding a mirror up to that and fostering some kind of change?
So, what we have found at RCS, and, we are an example of a company that's got the gender balance right. We are 76% women. And then, 2/3 of the women on our executive, 2/3 of our executive team are women. So what that means is we've got a balance to really question each other. We support each other in hiring, promotion decisions, so that there is that diversity and that real inclusion in decision making. But let's say, for instance, you don't have that kind of representation, particularly in your C-suite, or in your HR team. And you find yourself very male-dominated in that specific team. Because let's face it, change starts at the top of the organization. Then I think it's very, very important that you make a conscious decision to engage your employees, particularly where you are less represented, and solicit feedback and really find out what is the lived experience of these people in your organization, and how are you unconsciously, not intentionally, making life and progression very hard for them. I think, so often we look for answers, but we fail to do something very simple, like listen to our own people.
What's the role here? What is the role of allyship in this conversation, whether we're talking male or female business leaders?
Oh, allyship is absolutely critical because these are, as you say, males or females. So, I often say I am here because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. These are people that have gone before or are in influential roles. And really the purpose of allyship is that they use their influence to ensure that women or other groups of people that are often overlooked are heard, that they're considered when there are promotion opportunities for leadership roles. And this can include advocating for women, whether it be in talent meetings, in hiring decision processes, and also, sponsoring high potential women for career advancement through things like mentorship and role modeling. I think this is really where allyship is very, very empowerment.
One of the other things in this conversation that's often directed at women is this question around how do you achieve a work-life balance, right? I realized a couple of years ago because it got challenged. I got challenged as a broadcaster. And I remember it was Lady Scully, the artist, who said to me, "Well, do you ever ask a man, Bridget, how he achieves a work-life balance?"
Another unconscious bias.
And I started realizing that actually societally, generally, there is the expectation, or there isn't that expectation for men to have this work-life balance. But it is something that is woman-centered and directed.
No, absolutely. And this is where I call on our male allies, our male fathers, our male caregivers, because it's not just parents. It's we are increasingly in an age where we are caring also for parents. So I think that's one thing we need, and also to do right by men. I think there's often, if you're not even conscious that your male colleagues have the same burden as you for caring for others, that it must be a lonely place for them too. So I think definitely to raise the subject, to talk about it. And then when it comes to your own personal work-life balance, whether, yes, you are a woman, and it is predominantly still a female topic because we do see in society women do still predominantly take on that role of carer. I think the very important thing is first, have boundaries. So, both at work and at home. There's often that expression, you need to put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. So that's very, very, very important. Then if you are privileged enough to be in a leadership position, delegate, because not only will it help yourself, it does give others the opportunity to learn, to experience the role of a leader.
Yeah.
And really, we don't live in a vacuum. You need to build a support network that you can rely on. And
Absolutely.
at the same time that you feed back into.
Sandy, I want us to just pause here for a second. We'll come back and continue the conversation on the other side.
This week on Off Pitch Goals, Sonono and Sanela Khoza join us and take us through the storied success of the Zodwa Khoza Foundation. We talk legacy, community building, and youth career pathways. Tune in to SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 this Saturday, 30 August at 6:30 p.m. Also available everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Off Pitch Goals, where we showcase how the stars score in business. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Bafana Bafana will host Nigeria in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Toyota Stadium on Tuesday, 9 September at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online from 70 Rand for adults and 40 Rand for children at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. Come in Bafana Bafana supporter gear, ready to sing for a win. Gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Bloemfontein, catch the game on SABC2. For more information, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media channels.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
So we're wrapping up the show with a conversation with Sandy Richardson, who's an HR executive at RCS. And we are looking at the role of allyship in the economic space. And the business landscape, Sandy, can be a very complex one for women, right? How do we begin to simplify it for the purpose of empowering women and ensuring that they supported through their journey and their career trajectories?
What a big question, Bridget, and we could spend a lot of time on this. But I think let's take some a practical scenario. So, as an HR executive and the custodian of recruitment, for example, I mean there are many examples, but let's hone in on this. I think that first of all, I think you need to be very mindful of your practices. You know, that famous informal hiring network where people often give referrals and recommendations on candidates. Whilst I think it has its place and it's very good, you need to be mindful if you are excluding any particular group of people because, you know, people like to refer and like to hire people who are like themselves, you know. So you really you miss an opportunity to bring diversity and particularly women into some of these scenarios. You know, so how do you go about that? I think one, make sure that your pipeline is from diverse channels. Then once you get that CV, remove the personal elements, remove the gender, remove the race, remove the background. We call it blind CV screening, where really you are honing on someone's skills, their experience, and the qualifications. And in doing so, you eliminate that unconscious bias. And really, this allows, you know, it's a fair criteria for candidates. Where you are really judging them on what they are able to demonstrate that they are able to do. And I'm a big believer in doing that. You already diversify your candidate pool.
Now, let me play devil's advocate there, Sandy, with what you've just said around the blind CV screening. Because once we remove those sort of factors that may speak to a bias, gender, race, those sort of predeterminers, how do we then ensure that we actually do move towards inclusion and diversity if we're not considering those?
You know, I think then once you move to actually meeting individuals, make sure that your panel itself is diverse. Okay, so you know, we often don't leave it just to a hiring manager. We allow a peer of the hiring manager to step into that interview. And then you have very clear criteria in which you're assessing someone. And it's the same for promotions. You know, you don't leave it solely in the hands of one individual. You do this together as a group of leaders in the organization so that you are able to, in a very safe space, really check and challenge a decision maker on why they are making certain decisions.
Got you. That's all the time we have for today, but I think you've definitely given food for thought to any leaders that are listening to our conversation today around how do they become strategic allies for the purposes of inclusion and diversity within their organizations, and in particularly when it comes to conversations around women. That was Sandy Richardson, HR executive at RCS, and that's all the time we have for today. That's where we're going to leave it. Ashraf is coming through with the National Pulse. He and his team already standing by to bring you the latest developments. There's a protest action happening in Nigel, and that seems to be the breaking news of this afternoon. And right now it seems to be a standoff between community members and members of the SAPS, with what seems to be rubber bullets being fired off into the crowds. We have the right to protest in this country and air our grievances, whatever those grievances may be. It is a constitutionally protected right, where we bear the responsibility, though, as citizens, as communities, to also ensure the safety of everybody participating and not participating in the protest action, as well as to ensure the safety of all community infrastructure. Because at the end of the day, we still need to be the beneficiaries of those institutions and services. So as that community strikes, I hope that they are quite clear on their responsibility as well to themselves and to broader community. That's it from us this afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you so much for choosing to be in conversation with us. You could have been anywhere. You chose to be here. We don't take it for granted. That's where we leave it. Inshallah, God willing, we do it again.
I can spend my time loving you, if that's what you want me to do. You just have to say do. I say I'm like a dream, not far from water. You make it out to sea. Between us there's a border. Think of all the games we play. Tell me we're both trapped in this clay. Cause if we're sure it's here to stay, then help me change my world today. I can spend my time loving you, if that's what you want me to do. You just have to say do. But God didn't I can know. I can spend my time loving you, if that's what you want me to do. You just have to say do. Spend my time loving you, if that's what you want me to do. You just have to say do. I could spend my time loving you, if that's what you want me to do. You just have to say do. Don't be afraid, cause I'm not here to take away. It's not a shame. Let me show you how to play. Take my arm.
Thank you, Bridget, and the team on the top stories. Organised crime, a growing concern across the continent, and high school